Hey everybody, welcome back to the Scenic Route Astrology with Makayla. I'm testing out my new camera. You can't tell. So I'm going to be playing with it in this video a little bit. I just got a new Sony. It's made for vloggers. It's pretty close to my face because I'm just messing with it tonight and figuring out what I'm doing in my office so you can have a proper background. But yeah, I really like it. The quality is really clean, it's really crisp. So I'm excited, actually. I'm excited to be using this. I've got Piper with me in the background today. And so I'm going to be going a little different with YouTube. And if you don't care about what I have to say in the first part, this like life update stuff, you can just fast forward to the part where I'm going to talk about the lunar node switch. But, when I originally started this YouTube channel, it was a travel channel. I wasn't an astrologer yet, and I really wanted to be this traveling vlogger. And I had always dreamt of being like this nomad, traveling the world, making videos and such. And yeah, that's what I had started doing. So if you like go back into the early days of my YouTube channel, it's not very well made content, but I was trying and I was learning and teaching myself Final Cut Pro. And, life happened over the last couple years. My chart, I've been going through some pretty heavy transits, and I know many, many people are, but my personal planets have been getting their asses kicked. And yeah, I just kind of like fell off. But in the meantime, I had found astrology and then started the Scenic Route and Astrology YouTube channel. And I haven't been doing much traveling lately because it's just me and the dogs. And so it's quite hard to get out of the country with them, right? So, with that being said, the Scenic Route is named the Scenic Route for a reason, right? Because life is not linear and we do go on our course in life, right? We do get off course sometimes and we get back on and we change things up. And so that's essentially what you will always see anyway. Looking at me putting myself out there, putting myself on social media and YouTube in general. So I've been doing a lot of thinking lately about how I want to grow this and where I want to go with it. Astrology, I definitely want to bring into this channel frequently. I also still want to do travel, but a lot of me wanted to share me as well, right? Makayla, like my life, what I'm going through, um, spiritual talks, just like day-to-day stuff sometimes. Just getting more like humanistic, right? More vloggy style as well. So the channel is just going to be called the Scenic Group, right? It's not going to be the Scenic Group Astrology, not the Scenic Group Astrology and Travel, or just Travel, or Makayla Davis. It's just going to be the Scenic Group because my LLC literally stands for that, right? It stands for all of that. And so, um, the shift that you'll see, I think, going forward is going to be a way that I can teach astrology, and I will have astrology videos up where you can learn and you can dissect into your own chart. And I will put up stuff about transits and I will have collaborations with other people. I'm going to be as authentic as possible as I can, without, being too personal. Because we have to protect some sort of our privacy, but I want to bring forth a way that astrology is incorporated the way it should be, right? Like from a real approach, like a real human experience approach. That way, you can know that you're not alone when you're feeling some type of way during certain transits, and you know how to experience certain things or how to integrate astrology into your everyday life, because this is an integration tool. It's a way for us to make sense of things that are going on. Yes, do I do predictive work? I will say that I do like forecasting work in my readings for sure, but you can never really know what's going to happen. And oftentimes it's not what you expected, right? So you can be like, oh, it could be this set of things, but you don't really know exactly how something's going to play out. And so I find when I just connect with people through real life, through real conversations, like through intimate moments, and lead with my Cancer midheaven, my midheaven that's ruled by my moon Jupiter conjunction, I feel like I'm more useful as an astrologer. And I feel like I can connect with people on a really personal scale where you feel like you're not alone in these transits too. And I'm not just like talking and dictating to you, like, oh, well, this is what Pluto is going to be. It's like, no, what does it feel like? Right? What does that Plutonian experience feel like? And what might it feel like for you when it's going through your fifth house? What might it feel like for you when it's knocking up your moon, right? And I can do that through my own personal experiences. I can talk about it. I can talk about it through, watching it in my clients and my friends and my family and other things as well. And just it's really like life wisdom that I want to take going forward with this. I was really I've been wanting to do horoscopes and daily star casts on my channel for a long time, and I've been wondering how I can do it differently than what I see everyone else doing. Because yeah, I love what other astrologers are doing, and I think it's fantastic and it's great, but I'm like, I got to do it different. Like, I got to be a little bit unique because I want to bring something that other people, other astrologers aren't doing yet on YouTube to give a different type of experience, if you will, right? Different type of experience. So, what I'm going to do, I think, with this is just like from this humanistic approach, like from this very heart-centered, emotionally connected, intuitive type of approach. And I have had spiritual training, I've had spiritual coaching, um I'm a certified channel and medium, and also evolutionary astrologer. And so I feel like I have this unique set of gifts, and I finally figured out my little niche, right? I like figured out the way I want to go forward with my channel. So, sometimes I might be proper and behind a desk and like with my office setup, and sometimes I might be like sitting on my living room couch with my LED lights and my dog. And, I think you guys will just get to know me as a person and trust me more that way too, as an astrologer and somebody who can give you like deep guidance, and not everyone's going to resonate with me, and that's okay. And I'm not the astrologer for everybody, but I'm an astrologer for many people, and that's exactly what I want to build, is just like a tribe of like-minded people. And, eventually have these retreats and have these community gatherings and, these meetups and stuff. And provide healing and support for those who need it, and will come and go, right, within this community. So I got some new equipment. I like it. I'm changing things up. And on the other side too, so, I've been going through a lot of changes, and professionally, emotionally, personally. And Pluto has been um, vibrating on my Saturn for a long time, and it's coming back for my Saturn. So it's like, this is the longest Saturn return. I'm 33 years old. This is the longest Saturn return. And then it's also, it's on my IC as well. It's vibrating over my IC. So eventually there will be a home change. I'm ready to move. I haven't figured out where said location is exactly yet, but it is coming. So just stay tuned for that. That's going to be very exciting, for me and the dogs. And also, um, Uranus has been opposing my natal Pluto as well for a couple of years. Okay, so my natal Pluto is at 17 Scorpio, and so Uranus has been effing around in my first, on my seventh house to my first house. And so there's been a lot of shifts, and then the South Node has been going through my first house, and it's about to go hit my ascendant because I'm a Libra rising. And so this is the point of this video today, is to begin to talk. I've got so much to bring forth about this nodal shift, and I'm really excited to prepare everybody for this. And this will be an ongoing thing. Like the nodal shift is going to have its own separate series that I'm beginning tonight, because I want us to come into this Aquarian age as best prepared as possible. But if you're in the astrology community now, if you're in the enlightenment now, if you're in the spiritual community, or you're just getting in, right? If you are here, you are ready to partake in the shift and the changes that are going to happen, and they will happen for you in your personal life. And this South Node and North Node switch is very powerful. It's extremely powerful. And there are so many juicy opportunities coming up for people when it comes to your life direction and your life purpose, and having new experiences, creating change if you want, and also strengthening relationship dynamics. And of course, it's personal for me, like super personal. As a Libra rising, I feel like one of the things I can teach is relationships. And it's because Libras have come into this world to experience them and learn about them. And we're not good at them right away. Libra risings are not great at relationships right off the bat. And it's, and I've got super potent Aquarius in my chart, so I've had a lot of them. Not just romantic either, okay? But like many, many, many people have come in and out of my life, in and out of my life. And I often will touch them and change them for a short period of time, and their life is literally altered. The course of their life gets altered, and then we go our separate ways, and then new ones come in. And a part of my journey and my life path is like, this is my last lifetime on this planet. I know this. I know this is my karmic journey. I knew this from a young kid. And so a part of my karma to do in this work now, in my life now, is to resolve a ton of lifetimes I've had, and all of these people that I have encountered in various other lifetimes, especially like mass amounts of people, because I've got a very strong South Node in the 10th house in Leo. My purpose is to resolve and untangle and finish up some karma with large groups of people in this lifetime, because I'm definitely going to, a different planet where there's dragons or something. Like, I know it. So, um, so this shift to me is the beginning of something big for not only me, and why I'm really excited to go in this new direction with my channel, and take the scenic route into a different wavelength, but also watch everybody else go through these changes that you for sure will be experiencing, and help along this new path, this evolution. So yeah, so that's just like a little update. You're probably gonna get some more like fun videos of like my life and just like other stuff, spiritual stuff. I think I have a lot to teach. We could talk about the chakras, we can talk about your intuition, we can talk about how to channel, how to learn how to channel, how to become a medium. We can talk about magic, making altars, like working with different goddesses, manifesting, right? Just like start leaving me comments, like what do you want to learn? Because I've been doing this for a while. I've just been doing it behind the scenes and I want to share more of it, and that's fun. And I want to do more than astrology on here. Like I love astrology, but it's all interwoven and you kind of really need all of the pieces together. And I'm still learning, right? I'm still learning. I'm always in school, in a class. It's just like, I can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. So yeah, so that's it. But I think that's it for now. And more chows too. So anyway, we're gonna get into this video now. It's enough about me. We're gonna get into this beginning video about the shift, the node shifting into Libra and Aries. And so I will bring up the chart. Let me see. Oh, I can share. Okay. Here we go. So here we go. So guys, this is Luna astrology software. I know for my returning followers. Oh, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you are like new to my channel, you're not sure you want to subscribe yet, please just give me a like, at least for this video so far. And if you do like this content, please make sure you give me a subscribe. You know, I'm not one of those annoying people that upload 7 videos a day. Good on them. Okay, but I don't do that. So you won't get bombarded with notifications from my channel. Eventually, I'm going to be doing tarot videos too, because I just started tarot readings this last year. And I think they're super fun. It's something I like to watch. So, but it won't be all the time. Like it won't be every day. So anyway, this is the chart of the nodal switch. And this is going to be a general talk about that day, right? Because the chart for the switch gives a theme overall as well for the next 18 months of that. Okay, so it's not the whole theme, but it's very important that we understand like what is happening at that time and space when those nodes do shift, right? And so that happens on July 17th, so within a month from now, 2023 at 3:59 p.m. in Providence, Rhode Island. So of course, if you're in a different part of the world, just adjust for your time zone. But this is on the new moon in Cancer, right? This is like the first thing that I saw was like, oh my God, there's a new moon happening. Like literally the moon has just gone off a degree a few minutes later after the new moon is exact, we have the nodal shift, right? And so when we look at the moon in a chart, like within a natal chart, it's described as this actually comes from Stephen Forrest, described as the tone or the attitude of the person, right? And like we'll get more into that when I put out my moon course, which is going to be fucking badass. Sorry, excuse my language. I do swear I'm Pluto and Scorpio generation. So the moon is the tone, right? It's the tone of the chart. So the attitude of this chart. And so when we have this nodal shift, it is a tone that is about nurturing, right? Cancer new moon, but it's in the dark, right? You don't see it yet. You don't see or feel the energy yet of what's going on, because that's what happens with the new moon. It hasn't been it's a seed that's being planted, if you will. So there's this like yin type of energy with the new moon, where it's quiet and you know internally something needs to be shifted, something needs to start, something needs to be born, right? It's very much birthing energy. It's something coming out, and eventually it's going to come into full bloom, right? But it's this seed being planted, this awakening of this idea or this instinctual feeling that you have. And the other thing you want to know about Cancer moon, is it's incredibly intuitive and psychic. And I think we have downplayed a lot of Cancer moon energy. You know, Scorpio and Pisces, all the water signs are intuitive and psychic in their own way. But Cancer moon energy is instinctual psychic. It's that mother quality. And like, I'm not gonna downplay that, like, because men and women can both have the mothering kind of quality, but just for the sake of describing, when, you know, I know that I have to protect my dogs from a car coming, right? It's an instinctive quality within me that I don't I just act upon because I know it, right? Or if they're one of them's not feeling well, like I can tell, or when like a mother or a father can tell instinctually that something's wrong with their kid. You know, you can't describe it, you just know it. You know, an example I'll give is when I was 18 years old, 17, 18, give or take, because I have a Cancer moon, Jupiter conjunction. I was sitting in a parking lot and an ambulance went by, and it was about 1 a.m. I was like Wendy's getting a Frosty before they closed, right? Those days. And I said to my boyfriend in the car at the time, I was like, watch that be going to my house. And I looked at him and I was like, why would I say that? That's Something's wrong. And I was like, we need to go. And Wendy's was 2 minutes down the road from my house. And lo and behold, I was pulling down my street and all of these fire trucks and sirens were right outside of my house. That ambulance was going to my house, like I had instinctually known. And, you know, my house was on fire. So, uh, it's that kind of instinct. Like you can't explain it, it's just there. And the ancients were very attuned to this, right? They didn't have computers, they didn't have GPSs, they didn't have cell phones to know anything. They had to trust on their natural instinct. And a lot of that was intuition and stargazing and stuff, right? It was this innate ability to connect to the emotional body so deeply that you could allow it to guide you. And that's something that I think the South Node in Scorpio has been trying to dig up for us and then guide it into the North Node in Taurus so that we would learn to connect to our senses in a practical way, simplify things, get down to the simplification of dynamics, right? So that we do trust our gut instinct, right? Scorpio, South Node is like bringing up the deepest psychological, emotional undercurrents and desires within our nature and our soul, but it's also another level of deep intuition. And a part of learning to channel or learning to connect to your psychic gifts requires you to purge a ton of doubt and emotional baggage that you might be unconsciously carrying with you. And it is a lifelong journey to commit to something like that anyway. That's why intuition is usually a lot stronger in people who have been, I don't want to say older, but I want to say people who have been practicing it for a while, because they have been purging their energy. He's trying to get like popcorn or something. They have been purging their energy for a very long time, right? Come here, come here. So much that they they deepen, they release like less emotional baggage that they have. They've released it, and so they are more inclined to be sensible and be able to connect intuitively to their body, to their emotions on a practical level, right? More sensible, more stable, more simple, right? Buddhists and monks, they live a very simple life, right? And so I think a part of, I mean, many dynamics with the South Node in Scorpio, where it is still for the next month, and North Node in Taurus has been also just like putting people through a lot of psychological shifts and transitions, and it's been very uncomfortable because, you know, overall, like our spiritual world, our universe wants us to connect more into source energy. And so now with this shift, you'll be able to use that, and I'll explain in a different way, right? But as we're still talking about the South Node in Scorpio, it's not as logical. It is more oriented towards the feeling and the physical, right? I'm sorry. um I know we have dogs on this channel. So, and Taurus energy isn't going to leave us, right? Because we still have Uranus in Taurus, and we're going to have Jupiter in Taurus for the next year, okay? Jupiter doesn't leave Taurus. I gotta pause this for a minute. Hi. Hi. This is this is real life. Jupiter isn't going to leave us in Taurus for like a long time, right? So we've got like another year or so of this where you know, Jupiter is also this planet that represents, you know, intuition, and your beliefs and your higher knowledge and the reach for that. But you know, Jupiter is also asking us still to simplify in these areas, like, you know, the truth and the point of view of that you hold, right? The point of view that you hold directs your life, and it directs the choices that you make, right? Because you believe it to be true, or you believe that that's the direction you should go in, or right, or that is a faith that you have, right? And these are Jupiterian themes, right? And so in Taurus, it's asking you to simplify and solidify those those dynamics around, you know, practical, sensible values as well, right? And to not make things so complicated, right? Simplify it a little more, right? We got to like tone things down, because these shifts are going to be so dramatic for us in our lives that the more complexity that you have in your life, essentially, like the more stuff that you haven't kind of cleaned up while this South Node has been asking you to clean it up in Scorpio, clean up the drama, if you will, purge. Um, the less simple things are, the more of like kind of a chaotic mess you've got, like the harder it is to transition and to go into this new clean slate. Right? And we've got a bunch of things in clean slates. Pluto's going to be back in Aquarius next year, 20-year cycle clean slate, right? And we've got a small tidbit of Pluto going back into Capricorn next year for you to clean up anything else Capricorn like. Neptune in a couple of years is going to move into Aries. That's like a 14-year cycle. That is a major shift, okay? These nodes are switching next month. major shift, right? This hasn't happened in 18, 19 years, right? We haven't had these nodes in this spot, North Node in Aries. Jupiter will move signs late next year. Okay. And then Saturn just moved into Pisces on March 7th of this year. So it's just like a bunch of new stuff like coming in, and it's like not super dramatic. It doesn't happen all at once, but you will feel a shift when the nodes switch into South Node Libra and North Node Aries. And we'll talk about the North Node first, right? So, because I think that the South Node is super important. And I mean, they're both important because they both have to be integrated. But I think it would be best for the sake of this video, and there will be more, to leave you with the South Node and why I think it's crucial to really understand and like not forget that the South Node doesn't always mean release, 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 let go, let go, let go, right? It's more so about integration here. And I'm looking at it through a different lens, given I'm a Libra. So let's go back to the new moon though, right? So the new moon on this day is going to ask you to connect to your intuition when it comes to making choices and decisions, because you will be asked to make them. This chart has a cardinal cross. And whenever a cardinal crosses in a chart, it is change and shifts. It's asking you to go in a new direction. Things to know about cardinal signs: it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's very enthusiastic type of energy at times. It can be definitely uncomfortable. And an Aries North Node to me is a little bit abrasive. And I can say this because, as you know, if you've been with me for a while on my channel, you know that I'm an Aries, so I can very much know that Aries energy sometimes is butting its head against the wall. It is the ram, right? And it will charge, and it's this like instinctual nature to just kind of do something. And when it wants it, it wants it. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's stubborn in a different way, right? It's stubborn where it's like it's brute and it can be forceful and very action oriented and driven, like super driven, especially if it's motivated enough. And so, this isn't intense cardinal cross. Like, look, we've got 29 degrees Pluto retrograde, and a Pluto retrograde is an acceleration of its evolution. Accelerate, accelerated, accelerated, accelerated. The nodes will be and they're usually retrograde, so that's not like a big thing to point out right now, but they're at 29 Libra. And then we've got this new moon just a few degrees off, right? 24 and 25. So yeah, we've got this cardinal cross in the sky that's saying, all right, we're going to make some changes and we're going to make some shifts in new directions towards your life, right? So if you've got any planets or any angles at those degrees, it's going to impact you for sure. If you're a Libra rising or an Aries sun or an Aries rising, right? If you've got any planets in Libra and Aries, like these nodes are going to be hitting your planets. Or you've got any angles, these nodes are going to be hitting your angles. And the nodes crossing the angles also are major turning points, right? Because that means that an angle of your chart, a major section of your chart, whether it's like how you're coming out in the world and how you look, right? Your ascendant, how you're presenting yourself, maybe you're birthing yourself, you're letting go of certain versions of yourself or changing, or if it's in your 4th house, your family might be changing, the dynamics of your family might be changing, or the home that you live in, right? Or something inside of you emotionally that changes your personal identity, which also will change everything, right? If it's in your 7th house, relationships are going to change in your life. You're going to shift. You're either going to get some coming in, some going, or the dynamic of the way that you work together. There's going to be some shifts. And then if it's in your 10th house, you know, how you're seen out in the world, the direction you're taking with your life. Your work could shift, right? So those are important things to consider. Like, where are these cardinal planets falling in your natal chart? And start thinking now about what's going on in your life, and what needs to shift, and what kind of challenges and changes have you been knowing are there, instinctually, intuitively knowing are there, right? If you go back to the beginning of this video, I've instinctually known that I am ready for a move, right? So because this is hitting all my angles, all the angles in my chart, and the biggest one, the anchor of it, Pluto, is at the bottom of my chart. And so I've known, and this new moon, this Cancer, will be on my midheaven, right? And I've known that that's going to also change how I'm seen out in the world, right? So this isn't going to be anything really new, right? It's a constant evolution of, like, your life is in a constant state of flux and change and flow. So if you can intuitively connect to yourself right now and what you know is erupting within you, like a change or a direction or a desire, if you can feel it within you, you can get a good grasp on how this nodal shift is going to help you transition into the next area and the next version of you, or the next segment of your life. Okay. And so the nodes are going to switch on this day. The North Node in Aries is going to encourage a multiple of things. And again, like I said a couple of times, there will be more videos, but this is just like an intro to get your feet wet and to get you thinking. The Aries North Node is going to feel uncomfortable. Any North Node placement really truly feels uncomfortable, especially if it's your natal North Node, because you, and with some exceptions within the evolutionary astrology paradigm, but typically, normally, the North Node feels really uncomfortable because you haven't done it before, and it's something you have to grow into. Okay. And when we have this North Node moving into Aries, it signifies a new direction in a double-edged sense, where yes, North Node is new, it's exploration, it's trying something out, and then it's also in this archetype that is about new beginnings itself. It's about the birth of something new. And when a baby is born, it has no idea how to be a human, right? It's just like, think about it like that. Like, it is like totally brand new energy, and it's like, oh my God, I need help, right? It's infantile mentality. It's driven, it's kind of like me type of energy, like I want, I need, I'm this, I'm that. It's individual type of energy, and it should be, and it's a little bit selfish, and it should be, because it wants to survive, right? It's creating something new, and it knows that it needs to survive. So it comes with this life force, instinctual type of drive behind it. And don't forget, it's a fire energy, right? So it's enthusiastic, it's spontaneous energy. And it's a little bit edgy in the fact that it's naive, right? It can be very naive type of energy. So I love to connect Aries to dragon energy, to be honest, because, you know, dragons are a force to not really mess around with. And Aries is very courageous and has qualities of bravery that are very instinctual and will scorch, you know, if it needs to. It doesn't have like malicious intentions behind Aries. It's very innocent as well. It's like an innocence behind it, but it does want to get its way. Essentially, right? And so here we're going to have a bunch of people who are wanting to get their way in a certain section of their chart with that North Node moving into Aries, and they're going to be feeling driven in that drive to do it. And on the other side, the South Node in Libra is where we're going to have to balance out our lives and our values and our relationships and our money dynamics. We're going to have to balance that out in order to get there, in order to go into that new direction, right? And so, and we're going to have Pluto square the nodes for a bit of this in the beginning, where, you know, it's going to feel like you got to let go of some things because you want to go in that new direction. But it's important to realize that not everything has to be destroyed or bulldozed or torn down or rammed through, right, or forgotten on the new path. You have to very much instinctually know, you have to connect to your intuitive sense. Okay, what is healthy and nurturing for you, these Cancer qualities for you, and to go forward, what's going to provide you some sense of safety and security, and can it nurture you on the journey that you're going towards, right? I'm fearful of bad astrology out there saying you got to let go of your relationships and all these relationships are going to break up, right? And you know, all these families are going to break up and you and your wife are going to end and da 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 da, because it's like, no, that's not the case. That's not the case at all, because if with any opposition, it's about integration and it's about being able to do the both. Okay, sometimes things get very toxic where, and you know, like that's the thing, people know, right, when things are toxic and they need to end, whether they're willing to do the work or it's the right timing for them, like, and that's a personal choice, is another thing. And that's like why therapy and coaching and astrology and spiritual coaching and all those can come in helpful ways. But that's a personal choice. But a person knows, right? Like an addict knows when a drug is taking over their life and it's not good for them or healthy for them. They might try to balance it out, right? They might try to incorporate that drug addiction, right? Or the alcohol addiction into their life and try to make it work. But under this type of nodal shift, it won't survive. Okay, it won't survive because anything with Libra is going to go through extremes because Libra is trying to find balance. And so what's going to happen in this South Node section of your life, this Libra South Node section, is that you will start to feel the things that you're trying to balance, and they might seesaw. And if they're not working for you, ultimately, if they're not working for you, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel that shift, and it won't be balanced. And that's where you're going to find the challenge of trying to integrate into that North Node, right? And you might either have to let one go, or you'll figure out that balance essentially, and then it's going to support you into that new direction that you're trying to go in. Okay. um we're also going to see dynamics of aggression aggression and will, force of will and drive. We're going to see the unhealthy dynamics of that in our own lives, in the collective, and other people we're watching, because that, again, that North Node is in this like very impulsive, like will driven type of sign. Like do not underestimate Aries will, right? Aries drive. It is the reason why there is a birth, right? That is a crazy thing to think about, right? A baby going through the birthing canal, right? Coming out of that Pisces womb, right? That is a force. That is nature itself being like, okay, here comes the child, right? And you can't stop it, right? That's what this North Node is going to be like. It's going to be these births happening in our lives and in the collective, and you can't stop it. So it's going to be exciting, and it might be forceful at times, or it might not be so comfortable at times, but we will see the seesaw of both, right? Because the opposite is going to be the South Node in Libra, and so we'll be able to understand the unhealthy dynamics essentially, from a logical perspective, because the South Node in Libra is an air sign. And so why I think this is so amazing and so awesome is because this is an air sign, right? The South Node is an air. And so we're going to be learning so much about our relationships and how we relate to like things and situations and people in our life. Well, as we're like learning about that in the beginning of this nodal shift, we still have Pluto in Capricorn, and we still have this opportunity for like what the rest of the year, like let's say like 6 months or so, we still have this opportunity to clean up everything we've been like working on in the Capricorn house since 2008, since Pluto went in there. Like with the just stuff that suppresses us, that kind of still needs to be destroyed, that's like really uncomfortable, that's not good for our own parenting techniques, not good for our own structures, what's built as a foundation and just can't go forward anymore. Had its time, like with things Capricorn, things just have their time, not everything's going to last forever. Well, we still have this like opportunity to clean up this section, right, of our chart. And then early next year, Pluto is going to be direct, and it's going to go back into Aquarius. Okay, and we already had a little preview of it at the beginning of this year. Well, Pluto will go back into Aquarius, and then the South Node, even if it's not in degree, if in orb, that South Node is still going to be talking to that air sign, because they're in air. So the air will be talking in the air. It trines each other, right? So now the beginning half, like South Node and Libra teachings, okay, this is how we work together, this is how we harmonize, this is who we want to be friends with, who we want to partner with. We don't leave everybody out in the dust, but we know what we like, what we don't like, we know what works. This is how we value money, this is how we value things, people, situations, right? Now it gets to talk to Pluto and Aquarius early next year, and it's like, okay, now this is how we can bring it into humanity. This is how we can bring it into the bigger, more objective dynamics of our life. This is how we can bring it into the vision of our future. Okay. And then that becomes so important when I won't get ahead of us, but Saturn and Neptune meet up in Aries later on in 2025. And we've got like the human design shift and all this. So like, this is why these things are important to start thinking about now. And so I really just want to bring the beginning of this shift in like small segments and small little videos as they come up for me. I've been thinking a lot about this nodal shift and how important it is. Okay. The other thing, before we go, the other thing I wanted to talk about was the nodal rulers of this chart, of this ingress chart. Okay. Because they're together. The South Node is ruled by Venus in this chart. Very important to know. And the North Node is ruled by Mars in this chart, right? And Venus and Mars are together. This is a new phase conjunction going on between these two players. But the thing is they're not in the same sign, right? They're not in the same sign. So Venus in Leo wants us to embrace the way that we're relating to ourselves and others from that heart-centered approach, right? From that space of authenticity. What do you want? What do you emotionally and heartfully? I want you to connect to the heart chakra when you're thinking about this Venus You know, what's lights you up, what gives you strength and generosity, right? What fills your cup up with love and creativity and a purpose so much that you can also give it to others too, right? That you can also um, share with others and embrace it with others and love others. Okay. It's just like warm, heart centered energy. And I believe this is right around the time Venus is actually going to station retrograde and go retrograde for the summer. And then I have actually a Venus in Leo star point video that talks about that. And I think that it would be important, if anybody hasn't watched it yet, to go check that video out. And there'll be more videos coming out on Venus retrograde too. But also with the Mars in Virgo, okay, is going to be editing out dynamics in relationships and the direction that we're going in. It's going to be editing things out, right? And so this is the overall tone for the nodal shift, right? So we've got this, we've overall, when we put the whole soup together, right? We've got a grand cross, a grand cardinal cross that's telling us new directions going forward. All right, things are going to change. Might be 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but things are changing. You're going to go anyways. You're going to go in those new directions. It's going to be a little forceful, a little imbalanced at times, a little crazy, a little bit this, a little bit that, very ambitious, very driven, very strong-willed. Don't even know why, just know you have to birth something. You just instinctually know you're going to be feeling something instinctually being born within you. You might not even know what the hell that is. You might not even know what the reason for it is, but you know it, you feel it, because you got that Cancer new moon there. And then also, you know that you're going to want to be like living life and doing life with people that make you feel good. And you're going to be editing out things, people, places, things that don't. But you're ultimately going to want to have that Venus and Leo. Where's the party? How can I share life with other people and connect in this heart space and like feel creative and feel fun and feel joyous in my relationships, right? That's like what we'll be searching for. How can I go and create something? How can I create a space? How can I create a life, go in a new direction in an area of my life that makes life fun? Okay, and we should be learning from some of these younger Pluto generations, like Pluto and Sag, who are like totally over the 9 to 5 and they just want to live a fun life, you know, because that's the direction that, you know, the world is going in anyway with the shift, the way that AI is going to take over and the way that jobs are changing and, you know, and how COVID just reoriented the world, right? So there's like, I'll get on just a crazy train if I continue to talk anymore. But I hope that this was just like a nice little intro, like get our feet wet into understanding a little bit of what this nodal shift is going to mean and just basically talking about this ingress chart. You know, I didn't even touch on Saturn, I didn't touch on Uranus, but I didn't feel like it was necessary for this because I just wanted like an overall vibe of, you know, the beginning of July 17th, like the beginning of what that's going to feel like, right? Like what it might feel like for you as a human merging and going into that. And hopefully you can take bits and pieces of this and look at it in your chart and where is this falling in your chart so you can start to feel into these centers of your chart, right? Kind of like be like, oh, okay, this new moon in Cancer is going to be here and like the nodes are going to be entering these houses for me and oh, okay, I can kind of see, you know, where, you know, these dynamics might be coming up and being asked to be confronted, you know, over the next 18 months. So I hope that was helpful. Please feel free to leave me any kind of comment you want. Give me a like and subscribe if you haven't yet. I am available for readings, scenicroutastrology.com. And yeah, I just thank you all for being here and I appreciate your time. And I hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you for hanging out with me and my dogs. And I will be back soon. And I hope you like the vibe that I'm going with. and it's very casual, relaxed, but that's the way I like it. So anyways, have a great day, everybody. Okay.